Broadcasting live from the Albay PIO News Center, providing you the most exclusive news update from all over the province. This is News at 12. In the local scene, the Department of Agriculture Regional Office 5 praised the Albay Veterinary Office for its ongoing efforts to prevent African swine fever. The commendation was announced during the Swine Stakeholders' orientation meeting held last week. Dr. Rona Bernales from the Office of the Regional Technical Director for Research and Development led the recognition. She pointed out that Albay is the only province in the region still enforcing border control measures. Bernales said biosecurity remains the most effective and affordable way to stop the spread of African swine fever. She added that strict farm access, thorough disinfection, and proper waste handling are vital in keeping the virus out. In other story, the Albay Provincial Health Office reminded the public to visit a doctor after exposure to flood waters to avoid leptospirosis. This comes after new guidance from the Department of Health on how to prevent the disease. Health officials say people with wounds should get checked for possible antibiotics or doxycycline prescriptions. They also recommended using waterproof bandages to block bacteria from entering through the skin. The health alert is part of the efforts to keep residents safe during the rainy season. In the national scene, the Department of Education is exploring the option of working with local government units to speed up classroom construction. Education Secretary Sonia Angara said they are reviewing the proposal. This would move the department away from its traditional reliance on the Department of Public Works and Highways. Officials noted that some local government units have more resources and better technical skills, and the department is looking at options like an accreditation system. Secretary Angara has also secured over 458 million pesos from private donors for classroom projects. This will help build 84 new classrooms and upgrade several schools' facilities. The Department of Education said public-private partnerships are key to solving the national shortage of 165,000 classrooms. In other story, Pacifico Curly Discaya and several contractors have been ordered to appear before the Senate Blue Ribbon Committee. The hearing is set for September 8 and will focus on possible corruption in flood management projects. Discaya is the managing officer of Alpha Omega General Contractor and Development Corporation and is one of 8 individuals newly subpoenaed as the investigation expands. 6 firms linked to the Discayas and 3 joint ventures were awarded 421 out of nearly 10,000 flood control projects. The total value of those projects reached over 31 billion pesos in the past 3 years. The Bureau of Customs has also seized 14 luxury vehicles from the Discayas, 12 of which lacked complete import papers. Senate President Francis G. Escudero approved a subpoena from Commission on Audit Chairman Gamaliel Carduba. The Senate wants him to present the agency's fraud audit findings on flood control spending and the responses from those involved. In other news, the Department of Public Works and Highways and the Department of Budget and Management have 2 weeks to review the proposed 2026 budget for infrastructure projects. This follows a directive from President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. to reassess the Department of Public Works and Highways budget due to corruption allegations. Secretary Vince Deason say that they will check the 2026 National Expenditure Program for any suspicious flood control projects. Lawmakers earlier pointed out that some finished projects were still listed in the budget while others had duplicated cost entries. President Marcos has ordered a full review and revision of the Department of Public Works and Highways allocation based on the findings of both agencies. And in the news outside the country, a federal judge in the United States has ordered the Trump administration to reverse its decision to cut over $2 billion in funding to Harvard University. The administration claimed Harvard failed to protect Jewish and Israeli students during campus protests over the war in Gaza. Officials argued the cuts were justified due to alleged anti-Semitism and bias at the Ivy League school. Harvard rejected the claims and said the move was an attempt to influence its hiring, admissions, and curriculum. The funding freeze forced the university to pause major research projects, including public health and medicine, and experts say those delays could put American lives at risk. And finally, in the news outside the country, survivors in eastern Afghanistan are still waiting for assistance days after a strong earthquake. The magnitude 6.0 quake struck the Pakistan border late Sunday, destroying mud brick homes as families slept. Continuous aftershocks have forced people to stay outdoors and search for those trapped under rubble. Taliban officials said 1,469 people died and over 3,700 were injured. Most deaths were in Kunar province, with more casualties in Nangarhar and Lagman provinces. Taliban deputy spokesman Abdullah Fitra told Agence France Presse that aid workers have finally reached previously inaccessible areas. And that's all for the news at 12, September 5, 2025. We'll be back next week for more news updates. Thanks to our news writer, Albay PIO and Leah Guzon. And on the technical side, Chad Bobis. Of course, our Provincial Information Officer, OIC, Marty Gonzalez. And under the supervision of our Governor, Noel Iruzal, I am Greg Hallare. Thank you for subscribing.